So as we all know, Avengers Doomsday is set to come out December 18th, 2026. It's actually less than 4 months away. And after that, we are set to be getting Secret Wars as the next Marvel movie, which has actually just recently began filming. Like today, Avengers Secret Wars has started filming. So that will be coming out December 17th, 2027. And then after that, we gotta wait like 6 months, and then we will get the X-Men movie, which will kick off the next phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that is coming out May 5th, 2028. But during that phase of the X-Men and mutants and all that jazz, who will be the big bad that they will build up to? And also, would the next movie even be an Avengers movie? Or maybe could it be similar to what is happening in Doomsday, where it is Avengers and X-Men kind of teaming up to fight a villain? Is that maybe what they could build to in the next saga, is Avengers and X-Men? Maybe always, colliding and teaming up and fighting a villain. Maybe that is what they could do, because I don't think we'll really get any more Avenger movies after Secret Wars. I think Avengers Secret Wars is probably gonna be the last Avengers movie that we'll get for like a long time. I think if anything they'll build to like a bunch of mutants teaming up and things like that. And hell, maybe instead of an Avengers movie, next like big name that they'll use for the titles will be mutants. Like, it'll be like mutants Rise of Apocalypse or something like that. Which, speaking of that, let's go ahead and talk about the main subject of this video. Who will be the big bad after Doctor Doom? Because Doctor Doom is the current big bad that we've kind of built up to. Not really. They were trying to build up to Kang. It did not work. So they backtracked and rushed out Doctor Doom. So who can they properly build up to after Avengers Secret Wars? That is the topic of today's video. And I got three main guesses. Well, yeah, three main guesses, but like two real guesses. The third one is kind of I don't really see them doing that. And I'll just go ahead and start with him, and that is the Beyonder. Now, this guy has been rumored to appear for like a long ass time. Like, I remember seeing rumors from like 2022 or like 2020 that the Beyonder would make his debut in Avengers Secret Wars. Like, that was the rumor. Everyone was talking about the Beyonder possibly being in Avengers Secret Wars. So, yeah, I've seen the Beyonder rumors all the time. And I feel like he would be a bit too OP for an Avengers movie, you know what I'm saying? Like most of the Avengers don't really have like the best powers. Cause like think about it, you got like Captain America, who's just a regular dude who has a shield, and then you got like Black Widow, you got Hawkeye, and yeah, you also got like Hulk and stuff. But when you're going up against a guy who's like a literal god, you ain't gonna stand a chance unless you yourself is actually a literal god. Kind of like Thor. I think Thor would stand the best chance. And yeah, that's why I don't really see the Beyonder being a villain for like the Mutant Saga, because he's just way too overpowered. But let's go ahead and dive into some of the other theories that I have, because they are a bit more realistic, and that is Mr. Sinister. That is the next person who I have, like, I guess, rumored, or who I think could be a big bad in the next saga of the MCU. And that is because, well, as we know, Adam Driver has just been casted as Mr. Sinister in the X-Men reboot movie coming out on May 5th, 2028. So, yeah, maybe it'll be a similar situation with Kang, where, Mr. Sinister will appear in the first X-Men movie of, like, this new saga. Then, when they build up to their big team-up movie, Mr. Sinister can reappear again as the main villain for that movie, much like how Kang was supposed to be, where he appeared in Ant-Man the Wasp, Quantumania, and he was said to be the big bad of Avengers Kang Dynasty when that was still happening before it got changed to Avengers Doomsday. But yeah, it could be where Mr. Sinister appears first, gets defeated for like temporarily defeated, and then comes back in the Mutants movie or whatever they decide to call the next big team up movie, and he will be the big bad of that movie. And I do think that is a possibility. Because it would kind of suck for Mr. Sinister to just be a one-time appearance and then just never be seen again. So I feel like we will see Adam Driver as Mr. Sinister more than once, hopefully at least. But yeah, the one that I think is most, well, I guess I should get some of the other options that I have out of the way, and that is Magneto, because as we know, Magneto is like a huge X-Men villain, kind of sometimes, depending on how he's feeling that day. But yeah, I don't know if Magneto will be a bad guy in this next movie, or in this next saga, I should say. Like, maybe he'll start as a bad guy, like maybe when he's first introduced, he will be a bad guy, because I mean, Adam Driver was originally rumored as Magneto, and even at D23, he made a joke where he was like, I'm being cast as Magneto. Wait a minute. Nope, not Magneto. So they definitely heard the rumors of Adam Driver being Magneto. And so I feel like they definitely have plans to maybe start Magneto as a bad guy, but over time, he will probably, turn into a good guy. So I don't see them building up their big bad as Magneto. Like, I don't see Magneto being the big bad of the mutant saga or anything like that. So I think he'll start as a bad guy, and then he'll eventually turn into a good guy. So I don't really see them going with that option. But the one that I think is most likely is Apocalypse. That is like the most classic X-Men villain you can get, because like he is just Apocalypse. Like, he's literally named Apocalypse, and I hope they do it better than Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse, because that look, that look wasn't it, Chief. It wasn't that great of a look. I like Oscar Isaac as an actor, but the Apocalypse role maybe wasn't the best role for him. But anyways, who could they get to play Apocalypse in the MCU? Well, that question, who the hell knows? Because at one point it was rumored that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson would be the voice, or I guess the actor, of Apocalypse. And hey, I honestly wouldn't mind that. Apocalypse is bald, Dwayne Johnson is bald, Apocalypse is huge, Dwayne Johnson is, well, not as huge as he used to be, but still could probably beat me up if I got too close to him. So, hey, he could probably pull off Apocalypse, I think. And would that mean the hierarchy of power in the MCU would change forever? Most likely. But yeah, that is who I think is like the most possible option to lead up to for like a big bad of like a mutants movie or something like that, where a bunch of X-Men, maybe some Avenger characters team up to fight our main antagonist. It'll probably most likely be Apocalypse. But I feel like maybe there's more that I'm forgetting, so let's just go ahead and take a look at it, like a list of villains, and determine maybe who could be the next big bad for the MCU. So let's go ahead and dive into that. Alrighty, so here is a list of 23 villains that haven't shown up in the MCU but could. And some of these are old, because this was posted like a year ago or so, so there are some characters on this list who obviously have appeared in the MCU. But yeah, we got characters like Taskmaster, Doctor. This is like the real Taskmaster, because obviously, rest in peace to Black Widow Taskmaster. Never forget, even though most people probably did forget. But yeah, the real Taskmaster is a pretty good, terrifying villain. So maybe he could show up one day. But yeah, we got Dr. Octopus, the real Mandarin, who we did technically see in Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings, and then Kang the Conqueror, but like, done properly. We got Red Hulk, who has shown up, Norman Osborn, Kraven, not really too familiar, but this one, Mephisto, possibly, I could possibly see that building up to a Mephisto bad guy, because, Mephisto was in the Ironheart show, and I think it's been rumored that he might show up in the Ghost Rider movie, so if that's true, then maybe they could build up to a Mephisto, like, big bad. That could be something that they build up to, so that could be interesting. Not really too familiar with this character. The leader, they have the leader in Captain America Brave New World, MODOK's in Quantumania, like I mentioned, the Beyonder, but he would be way too overpowered for the Avengers. The Avengers would not stand a chance against the Beyonder unless they had some serious plot armor, so I don't see them doing the Beyonder, to be honest. But we got High Evolutionary, he was in Guardians of the Galaxy. The Hood was in Ironheart. Not too familiar with any of these characters. I just want to see if there's any who I, like, know. Okay, so that's really all. So, really, maybe I could see them doing Mephisto as, like, a big bad, because let's read what it says here. Is he, like, a Avengers villain? I'm reading to see what it says here. Okay, so yeah, basically, his whole thing is that he just likes to screw with people and torture them. Like, the famous storyline of Spider-Man No Way Home was originally of Peter going to Mephisto to save Aunt May, and in saving Aunt May, well, I guess I should say that the comic Spider-Man No Way Home is based on, not the original story, but the comic No Way Home is based on, or loosely based on, is of the comic where Peter Parker goes to Mephisto so that he can save Aunt May, but in doing so, Mephisto saved Aunt May, but also took away his marriage from MJ. So he said, "Hey, I'm gonna save Aunt May, but your girl, she gone, she out of here." What the heck is popping up on my screen here? There's stuff popping up here. So yeah, maybe Mephisto could be a villain that they introduce in the MCU. Let's just see if there's any other ones. Oh, Annihilus, I think I have heard of this character. He is also an X-Men character, but I'm not too familiar with him. But he could possibly be something that they build up to. See what else they got. Shumagorath. Wasn't he? I'm pretty sure he was in Doctor Strange, was he not? He was in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Count Nefaria. I keep seeing this guy. I'm not too familiar with him. Is this guy a mutant villain? Not too familiar with him, but if he keeps popping up on this list, then he probably is a pretty powerful character. So, yeah, and then, okay. Yeah, really the only ones that I see them building up to is like Mephisto, Apocalypse, maybe a Mr. Sinister, like I mentioned with Kang. Those are like the main three. I don't really see any other characters in here that could possibly, yeah, like Mr. Sinister, Mephisto, Blackheart, not too familiar, Nightmare, not too familiar, Magus, not too familiar. Yeah, so yeah, those are like the main three characters that I see possibly being the next big bad for the Mutant Saga. Either Mephisto, Professor, who am I saying? Mr. Sinister, or Apocalypse. But I think Apocalypse is the most likely just because he's Apocalypse. Like, you know, I'm trying to think of the words to say because I watched X-Men 97 seasons 1 and 2, and originally I was going to make a review for those videos, but I just ended up not really doing that. So, yeah, his whole thing is that, like, him becoming Apocalypse is, like, his destiny, and the X-Men try to stop him from becoming that destiny, but by trying to stop him, they end up making him become Apocalypse, and that's, like, the whole thing. So, it could be really interesting for the live-action side of things for the MCU to do that storyline, but the MCU doesn't really like to repeat things that have been done before. So I don't know if they will go through with that storyline of like the X-Men being the reason for Apocalypse's creation. But who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But that is the character who I think has the most potential to be the big bad of the MCU after Doctor Doom. So you guys let me know what you think of that. And we are only 42 subscribers away from 800. We were at 758. So if you have not subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe. And I will eventually get the posters and everything back on the wall. I've just been super busy and haven't really had the time to do that. So I'll probably get to that around the weekend because that's coming up pretty soon. So after the weekend, all the posters and everything should be back up on the wall, ready to go. But yeah, that is essentially all I got for this video. You guys let me know if you're looking forward to the next phase of the MCU, which I'm looking forward to it. We got the X-Men movie coming out May 5th, and then we got Ghost Rider coming out July 28th, and then we got Black Panther 3 coming out December 15th, and after that, I don't know, those are the only really confirmed projects I've got. So yeah, it's going to be a fun time, and that's all I got for this video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.